Yo, we live on location. We in that ATL, shawty, and we dreaming today, baby. We in town for the WNBA's finals. We got our little sister, a.k.a. Sometimes I Hoop. We got Miss Haley Jones in the building, Stanford's finest. She balling for the ATL dream. She chilling with the Knuckleheads, her big brothers. Y'all tap in. We live on location.
We happy to have you on the show. It's been a long time coming. Shout out for TPT to, have you part of the family. It's only right for us to have you on the show.
I appreciate it. I'm excited.
So we're here now.
Yeah.
When you first got to the WNBA, who was the first person to bust your ass?
Tiffany Hayes. No question.
Tiffany Hayes just retired.
Retired.
Yeah, Tiffany Hayes.
It was our, the first scrimmages that you have before the real season starts.
Yeah.
Hit me on the same move, back-to-back possessions. I had to get subbed out immediately. It was just like a simple jab, and she was gone, and I just did not understand how fast players are in the W, so it was a big adjustment. Yeah.
Santa Cruz. We just interviewed our guy, her and Gordon, and had a great interview with AG. But Santa Cruz, tell us about Santa Cruz, growing up in Santa Cruz.
Well, it's not known for basketball at all. It's known
That's
for,
what he said.
Yeah, it's known for surfing, farmers markets, and anything like your depiction of California, that's Santa Cruz.
So you grew up like Saved by the Bell?
Oh, not, I don't know about Saved by the Bell. But I grew up just on the beach, biking to the beach, doing whatever. But Aaron Gordon went to the same high school as me, so
that's
definitely,
crazy.
He was the big time guy.
So soccer, gymnastics, what made basketball stick out more than soccer and gymnastics?
Well, actually, it didn't for me.
No,
I
it
was
didn't.
always like, I want to play soccer.
You got too tall?
Well, it was more so my mom made the decision. She was like, actually, Haley, I think you're better at basketball. And so, I'm not one to be like, okay.
Mom.
I was like 15 at the time, so I'm not about to be like, no, Mom, I'm not going to do what you say. So she said she thought I was better at basketball. So here I am playing basketball instead of soccer.
So you didn't think you was better? You thought you was better at soccer than
I
you
did.
were?
I
You thought
did.
soccer was the
But
number
thankfully,
one,
she.
I was about to say, do you thank her now?
I do. I do.
Mom, you was right,
Yeah, she likes to tell me all the time she was right. So
Parents
she definitely
always
swayed
right.
me. Oh, always.
So when did it get to the point where you felt like this decision of basketball is the absolute right decision?
I think, once you get to high school and you kind of start taking off, I think that definitely was something for me. But in middle school, I started getting my first offers in like 7th grade. So that was exciting. But for me, I was
To
like.
college?
Yeah.
Did you play up? What was going on?
I played up when I was really young. But yeah, I guess I was playing on the varsity high school circuit. And like 7th grade was my first year doing that. So
You
once
saying
those
this
started
like
rolling
this
in-
ain't different. Like this is very different, Miss Ma'am. Like she over here just talking like, yeah, like I'm thinking you like in 7th and 8th grade playing on the 7th and 8th team getting off. But
Nah.
like you was playing varsity. Like at what point did you take that big leap to be able to? Because that's not normal playing varsity as a 7th and 8th grade. So first, did you go to like one of those schools? It's like 7th and 8th was like magnet or like.
No, I just went to the public schools in Santa Cruz, and we had a family friend who ran an AAU program out of San Jose. So we would drive in the mornings on Sundays, and all of a sudden I'm working out with the high school girls, and I was doing well, I guess. I didn't really think anything of it.
Yeah.
And then he invited me to play on the circuit that year. So I traveled with them, and those were all
Just
like big
played all the
sisters to
way
me.
up.
So it was great.
What was your first offer? Did you get your first college?
It was to UC Santa Barbara. It was my first one, and
Santa
I was.
Barbara.
Man, we used to go there for the Jordan camp. Shout out
we go
UC
to Santa Barbara all the
You ever
time.
go to that?
Exactly. I went to the camps when I was younger.
Which year? We might have been there.
I was real young. Maybe like 2009. I was
Oh
like,
man, we was done by
Yeah, we was done.
Something
by
like
that.
that.
It was the early, like probably
Yeah.
like from like 99,
Seven?
98, 99, probably to like, it was like at least 98,
97.
97, yeah, because I was a junior. 97 to about 2005, 6, we was there every year.
Every
Yeah.
summer.
And the runs was amazing.
2 weeks.
Yeah, that's earlier than my time. I wasn't born to 01, so I would have not been there.
So who did you like? You like basketball, you like soccer, you like gymnastics. Who was it that you seen, female wise, that you seen was like, man, I want to be like her, or I want to
Yeah.
hoop like her?
Tamika Catchings was my idol growing up.
killer.
There's pictures
You
of
got a
me in our
versatile
cul-de-sac.
game like that.
Yeah, there's pictures of me in the cul-de-sac wearing the entire Fever uniform. Like,
Yeah.
not just jersey.
Oh,
I
not
had the
the whole
shorts,
jump.
the whole situation. Socks pulled up to the knees. I wanted to be just like her. And I think it's just because, like, when you watch her play, you can tell the passion that she has for basketball. So I was like, I want to be like her. I want to have that tenacity, that drive to be great.
Yeah.
Have you got to meet her since being in W?
I think I met her like once in college, but I haven't met her
Like,
since.
So that's why your
Yeah, like
game
an
is
official
all
meeting.
around. and you
Tamika,
got
we
an
got to
all
make
around
that
game.
happen.
Yeah, please. What?
Naismith Player of the Year, McDonald's All-American. Did you pay attention to like who was winning the award the years before, who was making the McDonald's game the years before?
Yeah, I think McDonald's maybe a little bit. Naismith, not at all.
You
Like
know
that
who
just
won.
seems
Yeah.
so far-fetched
Right.
that
Yeah.
when you're in your day-to-day life, it's like, I'm not going to be National Player of the Year. Like, of course McDonald's would be cool. But I think Naismith is just kind of like this unheard of territory.
Yeah.
So when I ended up getting it, I was like, me? Really? Like, I'm just out here doing my thing on a day-to-day, struggling through classes, and like, here I am, Naismith Player of the Year. So it's definitely crazy to think about. And once they send you the big trophy and like your name is engraved on it, then I really started looking at all the past winners, and it's crazy to have my name on that with all theirs.
Yeah, all them Hall of Famers on
Yeah,
that list and
seriously.
so forth.
Seriously.
McDonald's game. How was that to be announced to play in the McDonald's game? And where was y'all McDonald's game at?
Ours was here in Atlanta. We played at State Farm.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was very full circle when I got to
Okay.
come. But it was crazy because they do it like during our lunchtime at school was when the broadcast was. So they projected it for me in the cafeteria. My entire school was there.
that's fun.
And then
So
they said
everybody got
like,
hyped.
oh, Haley Johnson, All-American. So it was really crazy to have be at the cafeteria with all my best friends. So it was really fun.
Let me ask you this: like, you be at a school and you know you the Naismith Player of the Year, you a McDonald's All-American. Was it any boys or the boys team like you was getting all the props? Like
Yeah.
that's kind of different
Biggest
for
athlete in the school.
the female
Yeah.
to get all the props and be the most popular and have all the, especially when it comes to athletics.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? Just being in school and you see the varsity boys team over there, you looking at them like, look at them, look at them over there.
Yeah, I think. Nah, you're right. I think my high school was known for women's sports, really. Like,
Yeah.
there were some men's sports, but, like, our volleyball team won state every year.
Okay.
Soccer was really good. We're known for women's
Oh, so
basketball.
y'all dominant over
So it was
there,
kind
huh?
of like the usual for the women to be on this pedestal at my high
Yeah.
school. But definitely dudes are always like, oh, 1v1. Oh, let's just net. And then I'm not really one to do that. But at the end of the day, like, you know, sometimes that just gets to be too much. We're in math class talking about it. So I did end up playing them, whooping them. The whole school wants to come watch. So then it's like,
Oh, no,
oh, okay,
don't
they
tell
don't
us
really, they're not really like that. So they had to stop talking about it. Yeah.
Could it have been anybody else but Stanford? Like, could anybody else almost got you?
Yeah, well, I never really had a dream school. Stanford kind of came up from the rear for me. I originally wanted to leave the Bay Area and go somewhere else, but it's really hard to pass up a Stanford degree, especially being a female athlete, understanding that, you know, I'm going to have a career beyond my playing career. So Stanford's hard to pass up. And I mean, the legacy there and the idea of getting to bring back a national championship after 30 odd years or whatever. And I mean, my grandparents had season tickets. All of our family friends got to come. So it was kind of the best of both
But
worlds.
was
there.
it a school that you almost went to that was just last second, like, nah, I'm going to choose Stanford?
Yeah. It was
Who's
really
that?
hard for me. It kind of came down. I took 5 official visits. I took all 5, and I was
did too.
stressed out the whole time. Like, I was literally, everybody else in my class had signed. I was the last person to sign. And so it was down to South Carolina, Connecticut, Oregon, and Notre Dame. And so it was really came down to South Carolina, Connecticut, and Stanford. But after conversations with my family, Stanford ended up being the best one.
I know Gino was pissed.
How was it when you got to campus? You know, this is your first time being on your own, like living on your own from your family. How was that adjustment for you?
I feel like it wasn't that big of a difference just because with travel ball, I'd been traveling by myself for so long that it just felt like a long summer camp at the beginning. And if I really needed anything, I could get home. It was an hour drive. But I mean, Stanford's really a different breed because like you show up, you're in the McDonald's All-American, Naismith Player of the Year, you're like, all right, I'm top dog. You pull up, there's Olympians in my dorm, there's people who are working to solve cancer, and they have like all these different nonprofits. So you're really just one of the rest.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So wait, you talking about like as a freshman, you slide through, you got Olympians
Yeah.
and people doing nonprofits, like it was that type of brilliance just right
yeah.
there.
Like it's nothing too. Like
So it's like,
crazy.
You know, you hear Stanford, you think just geniuses, and everybody is on such a high level, not only just academics, but you know, in school and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Is it like a standard, like around Stanford that you got to hold
For sure.
to be going to Stanford?
There's definitely a level of excellence that's required at Stanford. I think, like in my freshman dorm, you have like your dorm meetings your freshman year or whatever. Our first meeting, these people were like fangirling. They're like, oh my gosh, you're on the basketball team, all this different stuff. So then I'm asking them, oh, what do you do? This guy's like, oh, I'm about to sell my tech to Google for $1 bajillion, but I want to come to a game. And I'm like, sir, let me get in your company. Like you're the big deal here.
Yeah.
Or like I have my first lift at Stanford and Simone Manuel and Katie Ledecky are like right next to me. And I'm like, oh my God, can I have your autograph? But you know, you have to play it cool because you're athletes together now. Yeah. So it's really just a different level of excellence at Stanford.
After you play varsity for so long, it's kind of like, coach really don't be fucking with you like that. You kind of run stuff, you star player. But you got one of the toughest coaches in college history to be your coach. How was it to adjust to her and not the favorite player no more? She ain't scared to say whatever to you or get on you. But you know it come from a loving place. Well, how was it, the adjustment of the coaching?
Yeah, Tara's a hard coach to play for. But I think for me, I was never really the favorite. My mom was my coach growing up. I think I was the least favorite. You could ask any of my friends on that team. Like Haley was always getting everything. But I think with Tara, it's like she holds you to such a high standard because like she's had all these amazing players come through with the Guma case, Candace Wiggins, the list just goes on. So, you know, it's not like you're going to say anything back. She obviously knows what she's doing. So you really just got to take it on the chin and keep pushing.
Straight up.
How was it for you as a freshman? You get to school, you know what I'm saying? You doing well, then you have the knee injury, but to compound that, COVID comes. Like, how was that? I'm always interested to hear about the athletes that, you know, you're living through that COVID time and like you're in the middle of like you trying to start out your career and get where you're going, and then some never before seen shit in the world happen. Like, how did you get through, you know, deal with everything that happened from your knee injury, then COVID happening?
Yeah, it was horrible. Like
I can't even imagine.
I
like,
would not do that
you
again.
go to therapy and rehab and you
my
can't
God.
go see no damn body.
It was horrible. So like Stanford, we got kicked off campus. You had to go home. So I wasn't able to do my physical therapy with the Stanford people anymore.
Right.
I had to find people back in Santa Cruz. And so Stanford also had like really intense COVID regulations. So I would only get to see my PT at Stanford maybe once every 2-3 weeks. So I'd be doing everything at home. We would Zoom with my PTs at home. And then when it came to basketball, everybody else was going back for the summer period. Stanford was like, nope, not for summer. We'll come back for fall. All of a sudden, it's September. We're like halfway through the fall quarter. We're still not back. So it was hard, you know, putting that together with the knee injury. I don't know what I'm pushing towards. Like, there's not a date where I'm like, oh, I need to be ready by this time.
Right.
I'm just working out with no end in sight. Like, this sucks.
But how hard was it to do through Zoom where, you know, like, they can't push you a little harder and try and, like, how was that for you? Did that add more time to the rehab?
I'm not sure if it added more time. So I got to be hands-on in Santa Cruz, but for the big progressions, I remember I went to my local high school and I had like a hotspot on my phone and I hooked up my laptop on Zoom for my running progression. And so I'd put it on the, you know, end zone or whatever. And I would just be like, okay, guys, here I go. And I'd run 100 yards. I'd jog back and I'd be like, how'd it look? They said, first 10 yards look great. How'd the rest feel? Because they don't see me. I'm just like slowly running away from them. Yeah, then we try to do a sideways view and I'm just sprinting past the screen for like 2 seconds. So it was really interesting trying to like be honest and straightforward because obviously I'm trying to get back as fast as possible, but I don't want to push myself too fast. So it was a really hard balance to strike.
Sophomore year. What clicked that season for y'all to win the national championship? Because
coming off COVID and all that.
It came together. Y'all look great. Y'all look like y'all love playing with each other. Y'all played as a team. It really didn't matter who scored the points or however, and y'all won a national championship. What clicked, especially a year off of coming off that?
Yeah, it really was During COVID, Stanford didn't allow their athletes to be on campus. So other schools were on campus, got to go back to their separate dorms, whatever. Us at Stanford, we went on the road for probably 12 weeks or so. We lived out of suitcases, hotel to hotel. We only practiced at Stanford later on as the season. We got tested, I want to say, 9 times a week at one point in time, like nosebleeds during practice. It was horrible. So by the time it got to the tournament, we were so tight-knit.
Together,
We were like trauma bonded, basically. And so when other teams got to the tournament and they're seeing each other 24/7, there was a lot of friction. Teams weren't getting along as they did throughout the season, but we were used to it. We played ping pong, we played board games every day together.
Yeah.
So I think we just had this added level of chemistry that, ended us up in winning the national championship.
When y'all get to the Final Four, like, what is that like in your mind? Like being injured last year, COVID, and then not having a return point or a date, and now we've overcome all of that, and now we're at the Final Four with a chance to do something that this school hasn't done in a long time. Like, how was that for you and your teammates?
Yeah, I think it was hard not to let all of that get to us because there's a difference between, okay, don't be nervous for the game, but you also need that level of nerves to help you rise to the occasion to play where you usually play at. So I remember we had conversations with our staff, but really as a team, just talking about like, we don't need you to have any more energy than you usually do. We want to play how we usually do. So if that's a 7 out of 10 for you energy, if that's a 10 out of 10, hit your point and don't go above or below that. So just having those conversations where it's understanding the moment, but not making it too big so that we're still performing at that level that we've been at all year.
Being named most outstanding player, that added a lot of pressure for you individually. What was that like for you to be, once again, you went through a knee injury, COVID and all this, you overcome all of these things, and you not only win a national championship, you the shit. You the player, you the most outstanding player. Like, what's that like then? Like you say, in women's sports, it's not like how it is for men. Like, if I do what you did, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm gone after that, right? That's just the reality. Basically, what we do, if we go to the Final Four and become the most outstanding players, leave. Like, how is that for you to know that you got to come back and, like you say, it's all of this excellence at Stanford, but now you just set a higher bar for you to live up to. How was that for you mentally?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. If y'all would have won, you're out. I mean,
out of there.
I wrote a final paper the next day. We had finals that week.
See what I'm saying?
We're
It's
right
no
back
fucking
into the
way.
grind.
I don't care what's going on. If we leaving or not, a final paper is the last thing that's happening the following day after winning most outstanding player. Right or wrong. That shit ain't happening, bro.
I'm going to school next 2 weeks.
I mean, both years we were in the Final Four. It was finals week, so we were doing papers, the whole team.
Hey, good on you, boy.
Thank
You
you.
special.
I mean, did we
want
wanna do it? No.
Salute. Ain't no damn way.
Yeah.
Hey, professor, you ain't see what the fuck just happened. I'll holler at you, man. You better extend that thing. You ain't getting it from me for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, winning it and going back, it grounds you. Like, I'm really like, yeah,
still
sure,
here.
I'm me, whatever, I'm winning this, but also like, I gotta go back to school. I'm biking around Stanford, like I'm doing my thing, whatever.
And that paper at Stanford wasn't no
Let
bullshit.
me tell you,
That's something serious.
there ain't no BS in that. You gotta do it. So I think it was really easy to come back down to earth after that, honestly. And like when you win a natty, when you win MOP, it doesn't really feel real. So I feel like it didn't really kick in until like the interviews afterwards that everybody's asking me about it. It really felt surreal for quite a long time. So I think, the MOP, whatever, just added motivation where I'm like, okay, next year now I want to do this. I was first team all Pac-12, now I want to go for Player of the Year. Now I want to do this and that. So I think it helped me just kind of set more goals for the next season.
Winning so early and then you have to play another 2 years and you making it. So is it mentally draining? Like, is it somewhat mentally draining? Like, you play your freshman year and I know COVID, but you win a championship. Your sophomore year, you go play South Carolina your junior year, and then your senior year, you lose second round. Is it it's not really the physical, like y'all putting in all the work y'all supposed to put in to go to Final Four year after year, but mentally, people don't know how hard it is to kind of stay focused and stay locked in to really win this game and be on the top of your game every round, because once you win the championship, the spotlight on you.
Oh, for sure. You got a target on your back, like, all summer long. But I think after you win, for us, and for my class specifically, it being our sophomore year, it was just motivation to win the rest of the year. So like next year, getting to the Final Four, like we needed to get there. There was no other option because with COVID ending our freshman season, we didn't know how a real season ended without winning a natty. So it's like, how else do you do it? So I think that mental aspect of like the motivation was there, but then it's also like you're putting too much pressure on yourself. You're putting all these expectations on your back to achieve what you did. And it's really hard to win a natty. It's really hard.
How is it to have a teammate that can dunk?
Oh my God, it's so sick. But honestly, like halfway through the season, you're like, okay, we get it, you dunk. Like there's no big deal about it. Like every warm up, the fans go crazy, and then she's trying to dunk at practice, and we're like, girl, if you don't just make a layup, like Tyra gonna make us run if you miss. I'm not doing this.
When you first seen it, how amazed was you to see actually female dunk on the goal? This would have
easy
the
too.
guys be
It's
dunking
light.
that.
Well, I mean, I've known Fran since before we went to Stanford. Like we played on a USA team together in high school. So I got to see her dunk back then. But seeing it kind of become what it did was really cool to be her teammate during that. Yeah.
How many years you feel like women should have to go to college before they can turn pro? Do you feel like it's
Should
2
y'all be able to
years,
leave,
3
bro?
years?
Yeah.
Guys can do one and done. Do you feel like that? Because I feel like sometimes like you play 4 years and it just be so much. It's time to, when you feel like you know you supposed to win a year or two ago, it's like, what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's hard to have an answer for that because on one hand, I think as the game evolves and women are getting so much better at such a younger age, they for sure could go to the league after 1, maybe 2 years. But I think it's also different for female athletes because you have to think about just the reality of what the pay differential is right now.
Yeah.
So they need that scholarship. I mean,
the degree helps
to
you
be
a
able
lot,
to live.
I think. Yeah, I mean, for me, part of the reason I went to Stanford was because of that, to set myself up for that, 20, 40 years after my career is done, because not everybody gets to have a Sue Bird 20-year career.
Yes,
so you never really know what's going to happen with that. There could be injuries. There could be just, there's only 144 spots in the league right now. Who knows if you're going to make that year in and year out. Yeah. So I think when it comes to female athletes, I think there should definitely be an option as there in for men. Like, sure, you could go after 1 or 2, but I don't think it's going to become the normal for quite some time until a lot of things change in terms of
till the money gets up there.
Money in the league, spots in the league, just a lot of different things in terms of that.
NIL hit. When it happened, what was that for you? Because it was so new, nobody knew what was going on. How did you go about attacking it, and just like, how did you feel when you heard like, oh shit, we can make money? Like, and then like when you really started to begin making money, like you doing endorsements, like how was that for you?
Yeah, I think when it first came out, it was like, okay, shoot, we can make money. How am I going to go about this? Right. But then taking a step back, there weren't a lot of regulations around it, and also like these companies are just kind of throwing these quick cash grab deals at you, these one-offs. And that wasn't really what I was interested in doing. So I looked into finding an agency, signing with them first, and really looking into an agency that would align with my goals on the court, but also off the court, and thinking about my retirement and signing these longevity deals. And so signing with an agency, talking to them about what I want to do, how I really want to like build out my brand, what I want to stand for. A big thing for me is like being authentic. One, because I feel like people can see through you when you're not, but also I'm a horrible liar. Like I ramble, I sweat, I get nervous. So I'm like, I need my audience to understand that I'm only going to push things that I really believe in, products that I use. So once I found the agency I wanted to work with, it was smooth sailing.
Who do they see you? Who do they see you?
With PRP,
they're the best. Shout out Reese, you know what I'm saying? Shout out Reese.
Yeah.
Same agent that I'm with, Shaq, he got some heavy hitters, little sis under the umbrella. You smell me.
They're the best. So I think once I found them, I really got to figure, I want to sign not just a quick cash grab. I want to work with a company where I'm really a partner. I'm not just kind of like a face. So signing 5-year deals that are now still with me in my WNBA career are really exciting.
What made you want to do the podcast your last year of college? Like, what was intriguing for you to do?
Sometimes I hoop. If y'all ain't checked it out, go ahead and check it out right now under the Players Tribune. Host with the mostest right here, the hostess with the mostest, you feel me? Y'all go check it out, subscribe, and do all of that. Follow. Sometimes she hoop. Haley Jones, but go ahead.
No, I appreciate it. A lot of plugs.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think the podcast was a really exciting opportunity when the Players Tribune brought it to me. I think for me, what was really special is like when I watch players and the players that I gravitate towards, it's because I know their story. I know about them. And so I think what was lacking a lot is like sharing these female stories, specifically in women's college basketball. So being able to bring some of my best friends on and some people who may not have the biggest platforms and just talk to them, let them share their story, pieces that fans may not always know. And even for myself, now I get to know some of these people. Now I look out for them and whatnot. I think it's really special, but also like growing up for female athletes, there wasn't always that person to strive towards. I think a lot of times it was women's basketball players talking about, you know, the guy that they wanted to be, but not that woman. And so for me, a big thing that I've loved to do with NIL and now with endorsements being a pro, but also with Sometimes I Hoop, is being that representation that I didn't have when I was growing up. So showing that, you know, you can be an athlete, but you can also be a scholar and you can have your own businesses and do a podcast, whatever you want to do, and just make it work for you and what you want it to be.
Where you feel like you at in it? You feel like this is something you love that you can continue to do in the future? You feel like you're learning a lot from it? I'm
definitely learning a lot. I've definitely got a lot of feedback and constructive criticism throughout it, which is great because I just want to make it better. But I think I've definitely grown in terms of like, you guys know, like as you get better, it's easier to carry a conversation and not make it feel like an interview. I don't want to just listen to somebody berate someone with questions for an hour. Like that's boring. I'm here to not only listen to your guests, but with every guest that you have, I feel like you give different snippets of yourself. So I think I've grown in that term of just like being more conversational, giving things of myself while also focusing around each guest. So
you're doing, it's a parallel of what we do. Like how we, like you said, we bring out all of those different stories with our counterparts, with our peers and things that we know. You being an actual female athlete who was just in college, who's fresh, and you know a lot of these people, like, I really enjoy getting to hear about from a female standpoint, because we ask it from our standpoint, but like when I've seen some of your clips and your comments and, you know, the different stuff, that's what I enjoy about it.
Yeah, no, I think also what you touched on about just like having athlete-to-athlete conversations, like when a reporter asks you a question sometimes, you could give a really just like intimate answer about what you were thinking through the game and then like, okay, cool, next question, because they're just going through a bullet point list. But as an athlete, you can really relate to those experiences that you're having. And so I feel like it gives you a different in to really have those like, you know, vulnerable conversations about the things that we go through that not a lot of people can understand. So I think it's special to have that athlete connection.
Okay, this is a two-part question. Who is your most favorite interview that you've done so far? And who is your dream interview that you want to do in the future?
Oh, gosh. I think my favorite interview I've done, Natasha Cloud was such a great episode. We had to cut it down a lot because we talked for like 2.5 hours. But she's just amazing. And then I think another one that I really enjoyed was Anissa Mora, who's now at LSU, who transferred. It was really cool just because I didn't know her.
Okay,
yeah, she's at DePaul. Yeah. She's a beast. So I think really getting to pick her brain about why she went to DePaul, how it was being such a beast, and then now going to, you know, the reigning national champions of LSU, just really picking her brain about that, I think was really exciting. If I had a dream podcast guest, like basketball-wise, or just like dream in general?
Just whoever you want to interview. What's your dream to bring on your show?
Okay, basketball-wise, I would say Maya Moore.
Okay, everybody want her.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, we'd like a joint pod.
Yeah, we need you together.
Knuckleheads want you to come through, and sometimes She Hoop needs you to come through. Maya Moore, you a Jordan brand member. Rock with us.
For sure. Yeah, I think Maya Moore would be great just for her basketball prowess, obviously, but also just like what she's doing off the court nowadays. I think would be amazing to pick her brain.
Impeccable.
Yeah. So that's mine.
Being in the position you in, like, what have you learned? Like, I feel like I got better from looking at the comments, and they like, shut the fuck up, Q, let them get their shit off. You talking over there, you ain't even letting, like, I'm serious. Like, sometimes when you first see, you like, man, fuck you. You don't know what you talking about, right? But then it's like, if you just take it for what it is, it's like, maybe you do need to shut the fuck up a little bit and just like, so I feel like, have you had those times? Because I've had like many times where I'm looking at, we post something, I'm looking at the comments, and I'm excited about it. Then you see some bullshit. What the fuck he talking about? Like what? And so it's like then, like when you kind of calm down or whatever, you like, maybe
yeah, maybe you are right.
I don't want to see these comments.
Yeah, I think looking at comments on social media can definitely be a slippery slope.
That's a good way to put it, a slippery slope.
I've definitely learned from comments on social media talking about, I think for me, really understanding what they want to hear from guests.
Yeah.
Talking about, oh, I would love to know this when you talk to the next guest. Oh, I want you to ask about these different types of things. But I think a lot of it is I had to learn to like listen to the episodes because I hate hearing myself talk. And so when I first listened to the first episode that we did, that was with Aliyah, I was like, oh dear God, turn this off. Like we need to take this off the internet. But listening to it, I got to learn a lot about my tendencies, different words that I harp on. Or I think at the beginning.
Words.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Listen.
Yes, like you really pick up. I'm like,
saying that? You be crazy.
Yes.
Like, stop saying that shit. I'm not saying no more this episode. You can say it like 6 more times.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Like when you're talking, it's just, it flows so naturally. And then you listen to yourself and it's like, oh, I said like 1,000 times.
Like,
or
that's one of the
or I
most-
think. And so it's really hard as you're going through it,
That like
not to
and
say those things. But I think listening to the episodes, I've really started to learn what my tendencies are. And not, I think at the beginning, I repeated questions back or like repeated answers back, but was really moving on to the next thing. Haley, you don't need to harp on every answer that they give.
One of my things is that I would ask a 2-minute question to where the motherfucking guest wouldn't even remember the whole part of the question.
just kept rambling
I'm
with
talking
questions.
too much. Like,
Yeah.
they'll be like, hold on, can you repeat yourself? People think that doing this is just like, oh, you just roll out and it's just,
No.
this is not all easy and
And
great.
I hate awkward moments. I hate when a guest answer the question, then it just be the solid
He
moment.
hates short
like,
answers.
Damn, I can't.
He be done
I
laid
ain't
his
have-
soul
I
on the
ain't-
line and they be like, yes. And he like,
Yeah.
Damn, you ain't elaborate or nothing.
Like,
You ain't-
what do you mean? No, I think it's hard to like phrase questions when I'm just thinking of something. I'm like, oh, I want to know. But then if you phrase it to
They
them as
don't
a
give
yes,
it to
no,
you.
they're going to take that yes, no every single time.
Yeah.
help me a little bit, like rock with me, like I'm trying to do something here. Like,
I feel like definitely within your first few questions with a guest, you know how the podcast episode is
Yeah,
going to
you
go.
know what
You're
you're
like,
feeling.
okay, I need to really give some more answers to this. I need to play off them more. But then some guests, you
They
ask a
talking.
question and they start talking. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, now I need to reel it in. Like,
This
okay.
easy. This easy
yeah,
right
some
here. I
people
just
got
gotta-
way a lot, and some people on the other
gotta-
hand.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting to figure out what everybody's personality is as soon as you start the episode.
Women's college basketball last season tournament was crazy.
Crazy,
Like
yeah.
it was
Insane.
crazy, very entertaining. This year we got a couple of new players in there. Juju is averaging 30.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Miss Clark is
Cold.
doing her thing.
She doing her thing.
LSU didn't add, but we had upsets. Teams that's at the top and got upset. Who do you think gonna win this year? Who is your sleeper team?
Oh,
Who you think
jeez.
gonna win this year?
Okay.
And who is your favorite freshman that's playing?
Okay, so biased and unbiased. Juju's my favorite freshman. I got to host her on her Stanford visit,
Yeah.
and so I feel like I got to know her
that's
really
like
well.
little sis a little
Oh yeah,
bit.
she's
I
amazing,
love
and she's
Juju.
like
A
as
freaking
amazing as she is in
baller.
basketball. She's even better as a person.
Yeah.
So
That's dope.
I'm
That's
always
dope.
rooting for Juju. She's amazing. Women's basketball has grown so much where it used to be the same teams at the top every single
Yeah.
year. So
Yeah.
I feel like people weren't watching because it's like, oh, I know who's going to win. It's the Tennessees, it's the UConns, it's the Stanfords.
Yeah.
And so now there are so many great hoopers out there that they're not all funneling to those same big time schools. They
Yeah.
want to go and create their own path.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you start the year with LSU losing to Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
I knew how good Colorado was being the Pac-12. I
Yeah.
knew they were going to give them a game. And so I think, I don't know who's going to win. I feel like, I don't know, like LSU is tough. But I feel like there's going to be teams that really get it together throughout the season. Like right now, I feel like Texas is really coming along. They just kind of whooped on UConn at home, which is
Yeah.
big. I think NC State was unranked to start the year, and now they're like top 5.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of sleeper teams that need time to figure it out as the season goes on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot
Do you
of
feel like
options.
this is gonna be one of the best women's tournaments this year?
100%.
That's what I was gonna say.
100%.
Tell me, is like, how proud are you? Like last year, how prominent and how on the national scope that the women's game was, how the tournament went crazy, how the viewership, how the competitiveness, and like, and I feel like it's at the highest point that it's ever been. Probably. How do you feel watching that and being a part of that?
Yeah, it's for sure at the highest point right now. I think being able to be someone who is just like a part of it and now watching it, it is like I'm immensely proud to see how far it's come. I think
You still a part of it. You
oh
putting your
yeah,
show
I'm
out
a part
here.
of it for
You
sure.
showcasing
for
them.
sure.
You
yeah, for
championing
like
the
college
situation.
and everything. I think in terms of viewership, it's like once you give us the platform, not only for women's basketball, but you see it with NWSL, the new pro volleyball league coming out. Once you give women athletes the platform, they just take it and run with it. And you see these skyrocketing numbers year in and year out. Yeah. So I think it's really special to see how much talent there is, the storylines that you're following with the transfer portals. And then you see these huge lucrative NIL deals being signed. And so you want to follow those players. But I think just the talent is so insane right now. Yeah. Like you have freshmen dropping 30, averaging 30. You have just all these different players coming back this year. And I feel like everybody's gotten so much better. The level only gets higher with each year. You see teams like South Carolina, and they lose all those seniors last year. And they're like, oh, this is an off year, whatever. They're in the bottom of the top 25. And here they are undefeated, whipping on all these top 10 teams like night in and night out. Yeah. So I think you can't really sleep on anybody this year, but it's just so amazing to have been a part of college basketball and now be in the league and just see how it continues to grow and like that next generation of trailblazers is really coming through.
Who are some of the college women that you look forward to trying to interview or want to interview?
I think definitely Juju, talking to her just about what it's like being a freshman right now, doing what she's doing is insane. I think somebody who people kind of sleep on, who's now getting a lot more recognition, is Georgia Amore on Virginia Tech. She's a killer. And like you saw in the Final Four last year how she just started to go crazy. Yeah. So I think people like that, somebody like Sanaya Rivers, who's the #1 player in her class, started at South Carolina, now at NC State, making a name for herself all over again. I think people like that would be really interesting to interview.
Tell me about you and Aliyah Boston, our besties, BFFs. Like, how was that for you to have her on the pod and for her to be part of that was your first one, right?
Yeah, it was the first episode.
Like, talk about how you guys got so tight and where that relationship came from.
Yeah, well, we played at USA Basketball together. I want to say U17 was the first year we were on a team together. It really just sparked out of nowhere. It was Aliyah, Fran, and myself. You didn't see the three of us, not together. You saw one, the other two were trailing behind. And so it's just this immediate friendship. But I think as we started to go through McDonald's games and kind of being a part of other, just like the viewership growing, we got to relate to one another really well. We were going through just a lot of the same things. Like the same struggles during COVID. When we ended up meeting in the Final Four, just like having those moments, getting to hug it out, all these different things. I think that we could really relate to one another through our struggles and through our ups and downs. So it's a really special friendship.
Well, let's talk about the draft. By the way, you look beautiful at the draft.
Thank you.
You
Thanks.
did your thing at the draft. How was your draft experience? And outside of yourself, who would you give best dressed or best looking at the draft?
Outside of myself, I feel like, I don't know. I just remember when I walked down from my room and I had my camcorder on video. Everybody.
Yeah, I saw that. You had the old
I had it with me all the time. But it was like I walked downstairs and I was just like, oh my God, everybody's a supermodel. Like everybody looks so pretty. Nice, and it was just really cool. I think Brie Beal had like a hot pink power suit, which was great. And then Aliyah was wearing white. I think Zaya's dress was show-stopping. Yeah. But I think everybody really showed out. And it's so exciting because we don't always get to show ourselves in that light, dressing up, having a full face of makeup. So that was really fun. But the draft is really crazy. Like, it's a whirlwind. You start at the Empire State Building, you're getting dressed. I was at the Players Tribune. We took the subway. We went to get pizza. It was just a long day. But
NYC pizza.
Oh yeah, I think when my name got called that I was drafted, I definitely blacked out. Like I could not tell you what happened from when my name was called, and then all of a sudden I'm being interviewed by Holly, and then I'm in the back of the rooms being interviewed for 3 hours. Like I don't. Apparently, I hugged the commissioner. I don't remember.
Apparently.
I thought I was gonna trip and fall on the steps. I was wearing these 5-inch heels. It was crazy.
So when you get drafted, you the sixth pick, and you go to a team that has, like one of my favorite teams to watch, have so much talent. You know, Miss Howard, Miss Gray, Shanae Parker. And y'all make some noise this year by making the playoffs and getting in there just to get in the visual of the playoff. As a whole, as a team, how did you feel this season went?
I think it went really well. I think Atlanta in general, the dream has been rebranding in the past few years from what it used to be with Tanisha and Dan kind of at the helm now. I was really excited to get to come here and be a part of that rebrand. And it's also such a young core. Like, I mean, Cheyenne and Alicia, they were first-year All-Stars this year. Ryan was obviously amazing in her rookie season, Rookie of the Year, all that stuff. But being a part of this young core and kind of buying into everything that Tanisha's saying, her just recently retiring in 2019, I think it's a really special dynamic that we have. And so for us to be able to make the playoffs, I think the first time since 2019 for the Dream, it's been like 4 or 5 years. For us to be able to do that in my rookie season, I think it's just kind of springboarding us into next year with all of the new goals that we now have.
For us, it's the outside looking in. We see all of these great players that we watched, the last season in college get drafted, whatever round they are. Then we see the cuts come out. Like, how was that for you?
Let me tell you, stressed. Oh my God, I was breaking out, pimples everywhere. Like, I was stressed out because I'm like, oh my God, I'm out of college. There's no safety net. Like, I need a job. I'm about to have no income. Like, I need this. And my teammates know I was stressed out. Like, I remember I got called into a meeting with Dan and Tanisha. And I was like, is this where I get cut? Like, did I not make the team? Oh my God. But it was to say I made it, thank God. But like, it's really stressful. And you see every day, there's a website that you follow. It's called like Across the Timeline or something. And every day I got an update. Oh, this person's waived. And I'm like, oh my God, what?
Like, seeing that, it was like shocking to us to see. Like, these crazy. Are good players. And then media people like, this ain't cool. Like, you got Holly Rose, see her doing reports saying the talent is like, we need to do this and we need more support. And like, it's like, damn, like, I don't even know how to, like, to see that, like, because it just doesn't happen for us. And to see, like, a first-round pick be cut is, like, crazy to me.
It's really crazy to think about. I mean, you have, like, previous #1 draft picks who aren't even in the league right now. I know Crystal Dangerfield, she won Rookie of the Year one year, and then all of a sudden she's off a team, she's looking, getting traded around, whatever. It's just a crazy business to be a part of. But then when you think about first-round draft picks being cut and this and that, then people are like, oh, she should have made the team. But then it's like, well, who are you going to cut? Like, you have All-Stars, Olympians, previous All-Americans, all these amazing players on this roster. I'm at these training camps like, who are you going to cut? It is crazy to think about the level of talent.
You're fortunate enough that you're here right now. You're not, like previous people would be going overseas trying to figure something out. Like, how much confidence do you have knowing that, like, man, the game is evolving, things are changing, and I'm in this great position after my rookie year, I don't have to go do all of that, and I still can kind of be in a great situation where I can get myself situated and be ready for next year to perform and be at optimum level, but I don't have to be exposed to going overseas to be dealing with something that might not be the best interest for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a blessing to be able to do that now because that wasn't always the case for previous W players. And I have a lot of friends who are playing overseas right now, but for me, being able to be here in Atlanta and work in broadcasting in the off season, do all these different things, and then in the spring, be able to, I'm working out here. I'm with the Dream. We have our facility here. But it's really like, who knows what next season is going to take? Yeah. Like, I could be overseas next year doing whatnot. So I think it's just kind of the way things have changed in terms of, there's more marketing opportunities, endorsements. There's more opportunities within the W to be able to have them paid for you to do an internship somewhere, figure out what you want to do beyond your basketball career. Yeah. I think it's really special to be a part of that next generation coming into it where I'm able to have all these opportunities here stateside.
What's the biggest thing that you're going to work on this offseason for next year? You got an opportunity to play and to watch what was going on in the WNBA, to watch the other players and what's going on. Of course, you want to play more, so what's the game plan of, like, what you working on this summer to get more playing time and get to a level?
Yeah, being a big point guard, I think,
about to ask about that. What was that adjustment like?
Yeah,
not ever doing that to doing that.
Well, I kind of played point guard at Stanford. Like, I've always been that 1 through 4 player, and so when I was at Stanford, I was just the 4 because that's the lineup that we had. But I probably brought up the ball the majority amount of the time. But now, being just like purely point guard for the most part, it's really working on, being a bigger guard, creating space for myself. I'm running the offense.
Big guard, ladies and gentlemen.
For sure. So it's like creating space, being able to make reads, understanding what I can do that smaller point guards can't. So understanding how to get to my spots, how to elevate. You know, if I have a mismatch, posting them up, backing them down, or making different cuts, making different reads, understanding that I have a long wingspan, how to incorporate that defensively. I think all those different types of things. So it's a lot of ball handling. It's a lot of outside shooting, because I like to drive to the basket. People know that. But it's adding that outside consistency into the arsenal, so that now when you do have to chase me over screen, now I get to do what I like to do. I get to create downhill. I get to do all those different things. So I think it's really kind of adding to that big guard bag right now.
How
So
much
it'll be
would you
seamless.
say like that improved? Because like watching you early season to mid season, where you not getting a lot of minutes and you trying to figure things out, to like boom, now you kind of have a footing and know what's coming to you. How much would you say that impacted like, you know, your levels of comfort and getting better as the season went on?
Oh, for sure. There was a point in the season when both our point guards went out with injuries. So all of a sudden, here I am playing 40 minutes. I'm gassed. Like, I got to figure out what to do. Yeah. So I think a lot of it was watching film, I think helped a lot. But also just like having that internal confidence, because it's like you get to the league and all of a sudden you're comparing yourself to all these different people. But for me, it was really having that understanding that I'm also here for a reason and that I have a skill set that nobody else has. So understanding how to make that work the best for me, which ended up helping the team the best way that I could. So I think it was really just like that confidence started to come along. The more minutes you get, you throw a turnover, not getting in your head about it. It's like next rep, because at that point, there wasn't really a sub for me. So I was like, I don't have time to get in my head. I need to make the next decision. I need to move past it.
What's the difference between WNBA and college? Is everybody in the WNBA good, every position? They bring something to the table. College, you kind of, it's two of them the good and the rest of them just all right.
Yeah, I think it's like in college, there's definitely those cheats you can have on the scout. And, you know, not everybody's an All-American. Not everybody's this and that. When you get to the league, everybody's been there, done that. And so it's like there's no shortcuts that you can take. There's no, I'm going to cheat off this scout. Everybody can shoot. Everybody can go both ways. It's the scouts are now not like, force her left, do this net. It's make this shot more difficult. She shoots a high percentage on this side, force her this way. So it's understanding all those different intricacies, I guess. But I think the biggest thing for me was like, when you get to the league, you could be just as skilled as somebody, but you are not as efficient as they are. Yeah. Like playing against somebody like Chelsea Gray, she may not be the most athletic person in the league, she gets to her spots better than anybody else. She creates space like nobody else for that mid-range. So I think it's really just learning to pick up on all those little efficient things that you can do to get to your spots quicker.
Yeah. Hey, this is what I want to know. You done had NILs. Now you getting that WNBA money. I don't want to hear about nothing wholesome, Haley.
Well, all I do is wholesome. All I do.
Nah, hell
like,
no. Hell no.
I invest.
You did something. You got a Louis bag. You got a Gucci. You got something.
Let me tell you, I'm the most boring person. I'm telling you, like, what did I do with my first check?
Not the first check, just any check. What did you do that you look back like, I shouldn't have did it? You ain't get no jewelry, you ain't get no bag, you ain't get no shoes, you ain't get no car. What you do?
I started investing. What? I'm sorry. It's my Stanford degree.
Great
This
answer.
is that Stanford stuff. She's too smart for her own good, ladies and gentlemen. She can't even make a little teeny tiny minuscule money mistake, and goddamn, Stanford getting them too situated for all of this. I can't even get my question off.
If I wanted a Louis bag or something, what I do is I save that, and I'm like, if it's January, I want a Louis bag. I can wait till Christmas to ask for that. Like, that'll be my one ask. You know what I asked for Christmas this year? A vacuum, a cast iron skillet, a Le Creuset little set. Like, I am so boring, but they're all things that I want and need. Now I can cook better, and I've been working on my baking. It's all really fun for me.
That's what I was just going to ask you. I heard that you love baking. Yes. What made you fall in love with baking?
My mom. She's the best cook, chef, anything ever. So
I'm appalled. Let me just say it. Continue, but I'm appalled right now.
So like she was one of those people where like she just writes down. She doesn't even write down her recipes. And so during COVID, I really got to sit down with her and like write up all of her recipes, create a catalog. And so now it's like, you know, I get to take her recipes and make them my own. And I just like to freestyle.
You know what?
You are so disappointed right now.
This is officially our little sister. We gonna get you a Louis bag or something. Damn that. We owe you that. The Knuckleheads podcast, you let us know. Darius, coming out of your pocket. You paying for it, but we getting it for you. something, goddammit.
God.
We're going to wrap it up on that, man. This has been big time. I'm so happy. This is officially our little sister, Haley Jones, Knuckleheads, and sometimes I hoop.
Thank you.
We in the building. This is all under the family, all under the Players Tribune umbrella. This is a family affair. We are so thankful you pulled up on us in the ATL. She doing us proud, ladies and gentlemen. She doing what we do for the men's game. She doing for the women's game, and she doing it in the exquisite, excellent way. We commend her. We salute you, and we going to keep supporting. Do your thing.
Thank you.